You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. We are going to be joined on the telephone now here at the Monday Night Community Show on BRFM with me, Daniel. We're going to be talking all about babies crying. Firstly, thank you very much for joining us. I was hoping you could introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Martin Goldman. I'm Chief Medical Officer for a little research company called Yetros Consulting, and we've been doing some research into the treatment of infant colic using a novel method of talking directly to patients' parents using social media, which is a very, very novel method. We've done a study of 4,004 parents, and we made some interesting discoveries about how people treat infant colic and how one particular treatment works.
So I understand you do real-world studies. I was hoping you could tell our listeners a bit more about this.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the thing is, most medicines are developed using something called clinical trials. And clinical trials are very, very elegant experiments done usually in patients to discover whether a medicine is safe and effective. But the thing about these elegant experiments is they usually select the patients very, very carefully, and usually within an age limit, and you can't be taking other medicines. And they aren't really a reflection of what happens in the real world, because in the real world, people get to take their medicines, they may not take enough, they may be taking other things, they may be on a funny diet. And so the idea is that real-world evidence is finding out what happens to people in the real world when they use a medicine that's actually there, warts and all.
So what's your study found about why babies cry?
Well, our particular study was about a medicine called Infocol, which is based on a chemical called simethicone. What it found, and this was really very, very surprising, was that over 90% of respondents to the study, and all the respondents in the study had actually used the stuff, about over 90% considered that the use of this product was actually associated with either the babies getting completely better or some improvement in the symptoms of crying from infant colic. And this was a bit of a surprise because no one had actually managed to show that amount of information before. It's an old product, and no one had actually done this kind of work before.
Well, I was going to say, it's probably difficult to find out why a baby's crying and often what's making a baby cry.
That's right, and most babies don't actually who cry don't actually usually make it to see their family doctor. So the babies who are in clinical trials are usually the babies that have come to their doctor for some reason. But the bottom line is what happens to the baby in the street, so as to speak, your next door neighbour, your cousin or whatever. And most of the time, people have to deal with infant colic on their own. And we found that in our study, about 60-something%, and 60% of parents had to work out that the baby had infant colic on their own and figure out what to do about it. Sometimes friends and family help. Occasionally, about 15% of cases, is the health visitor. And for a lot of patients, it means that the treatment is bought themselves, usually over the counter, without a doctor's prescription.
So is there anything the parents can be doing to perhaps prevent their baby crying so much?
Well, that's a good one. How can you stop a baby from crying? Because a baby crying, especially when they're young, is really their only way of communicating with the outside world. And they're telling you a lot about what's going on with them. They're telling you that they're either hungry or in pain or in discomfort, or that you've left them alone too long. And if you look at all those factors in the first place, then you've got something you can try and sort out. So you can cuddle your baby more, you can make sure they're not hungry, they don't have a dirty nappy, and they don't seem to be unwell. The question is when you've been through all of those and you can't find the reason why a baby's crying, what are you going to do? As I say, you're probably not going to be able to stop the baby crying, but it's what do you do at an early stage? And some people use physical things like letting the baby rest near to a washing machine that's running, or use a little device that makes white noise. Some people who are very, very keen sometimes use cranial osteopathy and other massage techniques. But what we were looking at was using colic drops. And colic drops are very, very popular. And what we found was that for the vast majority of babies who are given these colic drops, it does seem to work.
So is it more about finding out why the baby's crying rather than just trying to stop them without really understanding why?
Well, I'm actually going to turn that question around on its head, because if babies could talk and tell us what was bothering them, we'd all be so much better off. But I guess they can't. And the question is when a baby's faced with a baby when a mother's faced with a baby that's crying excessively, what's she going to do? She needs to do something. And so what this is really all about is problem solving, and solving the problem of the baby that's crying too much.
So was there anything else you'd like to get over to our listeners or let them know about, perhaps something I haven't already covered?
Yeah, I think I'd like to also point out that one of the things our study discovered is that infant colic, the excessive crying in a baby, is really a mother's domain. Over 90% of the respondents were the mums. Fathers don't really find themselves with the remit of dealing with the excessively crying baby. And the other thing is it seems to be mostly first babies that were responding to our questionnaire. Well, not babies themselves, but their mums. And it's probable that with second and subsequent babies, the mothers know how to deal with crying and they just get on with it.
So where can our listeners perhaps find out a little bit more information?
Right. Listeners can usually find out more information about infant colic and about treatments from the internet, from the NHS Direct, or from a variety of websites such as Crisis, or just by Googling infant colic.
So I'd really like to thank you for taking the time out to talk to us here at the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on BRFM Bridge Radio.
Okay, thank you very much.